Today we are going to be creating a Costa Rican ox cart, and these would be like the wheels of a cart. So you may have 2 or 4 in a cart, and it was pulled by oxen, hence the name Oxcart. So these wheels were how you'd identified the farmers. So it's like a logo. So if you saw this wheel, you knew which farmer this cart and oxen belong to. So nowadays you see trucks with logos on it and all that, but they still use these carts in parades, so you still see them even today. But you'll notice that they're really intricate designs and they're very bold in color, so they're just beautiful. So we're going to be creating our very own ox cart. So what I have are 2 visual papers like these, and the nice thing about these is they show you what one like pie shape looks like. That's what you'll be drawing, and then what it looks like when you put it all together. So it gives you a nice visual. You can combine a few of these if you'd rather, but it's going to be a pretty intricate design that we're going to be creating today. And then you're going to get a piece of paper, and I've got my sample here. It's a little larger. You can see how I've started tracing all of this. So we'll be using either windows or light boxes that I have around the room. So the very first thing you're going to do is when you get the paper is we want to fold it. We want to have 8 sections. So you're going to fold one edge to the other, make a fold, open it, turn it, make another fold. So you want to try to go as close to the edges. Don't try to rush it too much because you want it to be pretty even. So I've got now 4 squares. Now I'm going to take one corner to the top, open it up, and my next corner to the very top. And I was a little off on that one, so hopefully that won't ruin anything. I think they're fine. So I should have 8 sections. Then you're going to get one of the compasses. So what you're going to do is this little brass brad, that's the center. That's where you're going to place where all those lines intersect. And then you're going to find the farthest hole, which happens to be 5-inch radius. So this is a shorter, smaller piece, but this one you can kind of see. It's going to go like right here in this hole in the very end, and it's going to have plenty of room. Now mine is much smaller, so I'm going to have to do something a little bit different. You're going to go to the farthest hole, and I'm going to one that I can fit on the page. And notice how my left hand stays in one position and my right hand, put my pencil in here because I'm right-handed. If you're left-handed, it's just the opposite. So you're going to create your circle. Now all you have to do is create a drawing in one of these like pie shapes. So this is where you can kind of reference these. So maybe this one I'm going to make it kind of look like this, and I'm not going to draw all of it here, but you can kind of see how I'm starting it out. So what I'm going to look at it first is I have these 3 lines dividing it up. So I'm going to have 1, 2, 3 lines there. They're not perfectly straight because it's going to eventually form a circle. And then I look what's in the top section. Okay, I have these like diamond shapes. So this one is just a half of a diamond. Okay, and I'm going to draw it. Oops. See, I'm going to make this one smaller because I want to end. Might even have to do it this way. There we go. So I'm going to end on a diamond. I'm kind of doing this faster. I probably should have planned that a little bit better. Then I'm going to look at this next one here. They start here. There's kind of like a little curve line like this. And then they have like a little line in there, kind of almost like a floral looking. And then, sorry, I've got that going on. Then I could look at these little designs here. They're going to kind of go bump, 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 bump. So you see a lot of symmetry when you're looking at this, in some very simple shapes. And then there's another one of those triangles here. And then right down here at the end, it's just a straight line. And then we have a line here, here, and here, okay? There's some other little details I just didn't happen to draw, okay? So once I like what I've drawn, I like to take a Sharpie. You can use a thin Sharpie or a regular Sharpie. And I'm gonna trace the lines, okay? So you're gonna trace every single one of them. And I'm kind of rushing it more than I should. Take your time drawing all these lines, okay? And then these little bumps here, okay? So let's pretend I've done all of them. Now we're gonna get a light box or a window. I'm gonna put that right underneath here. So there's a little switch right here. You just hold it for a few seconds, and it lights up. then with your pencil, we're gonna trace our image. So the great thing is you have one side that you're gonna have everything drawn. So what I do is I kind of fold this behind, and you can see my design here. So I can see these lines here that I've drawn. I can see my triangle here, and I'm going to trace what I see. And honestly, if you want to do the pencil before you do the Sharpie, you totally can. So now I have two sections there. And you see they do meet up nicely. And even right here. So I'm going to kind of connect that. Then I can go to the next one, making sure that the top part is always there. It's harder to tell if I'm going to fold this piece. So I'm not doing any new folds. So now I've drawn one section in, and then I'm going to draw my other section. So now I'm going to do two at the same time. And then add the little curves, the triangle, and I'm just tracing everything. Okay, and you guys remember I kind of rushed this a little bit, but I will tell you, you will be much happier if you take your time and we're not racing. So this will happen because we only have, so many light boxes. So let's say I have half of mine traced, okay? Just like this. And there's a line of people or 2 or 3 people. I would then go and take my Sharpie over to my table and then trace those lines, because everyone's going to have to trace the lines. So if there's a line of people waiting at the light box and you have a few sections drawn in, I would then use your time wisely and go and do this outlining so that you don't have to wait around. And then eventually, see I have 4 sections. When I fold it in half this way, always making sure the right side is out because you don't want to have artwork on the front and the back side. You want it to be one-sided. If that happens, which I honestly can see that happening to some of you, if that happens, it's not like the end of the world. They get to start over or anything like that. It just means you have to trace it on the correct side. So you just have to go over to the light box. So you can see this one kind of goes a lot faster now because I'm just tracing 1/2 instead of like one little section. Okay, and I'll finish tracing all of that until I have a finished project, and then I will outline. Okay, so remember, you're just drawing one section. Then you're going to make sure that one section you trace with the Sharpie, whether it's the pen or regular. Then you're going to fold it so that the one section you've drawn is underneath, okay? But like right there, I actually should have folded this way. So it's underneath, and then the right side is facing out. So I can see this getting confusing. So what you could do is put a little X on the very outside, because we'll be eventually trimming these, so that when you fold it, you see that X and you're like, okay, yes, I'm tracing on the correct side of my paper so that you don't have any accidents in there. But if you do trace on the wrong side, it still works out and looks beautiful. So we'll have this to work on today and next week, and then eventually we'll erase all of our pencil line and we'll add our color. So I don't expect you to be finished with this today, but if you should have definitely one section drawn out and outlined, and then hopefully a few more traced.